This is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 2, Episode 38, Limping in the Camp. So much to unfold this week in the sports world. I am your host, Eric. My main man.
You're everybody's favorite.
I am. Thank you. My main man, Ron. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm actually in a really good mood. I don't know why.
I can see that. I can see that. I cannot express how excited I am to have you in this mood tonight. I can't wait. This should be an amazing show. So let's start off with our leadoff story. Obviously, not a story we want to be discussing as our local team here in Boston, but Ime Udoka has been suspended 1 year by the Boston Celtics after an independent investigation was done by the team. Udoka is believed to have made unwelcome comments to certain female employees. Your thoughts on the situation in Boston?
Well, if you saw the press conference, Brad Stevens really took it hard.
Definitely emotional.
To me, it looked like his thoughts were wounded.
Well, again, this is his pick. This is his first pick as president of the organization, and this story comes out a year in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly not a good look. And I feel like, the story was leaked out, and it probably was leaked out by the Celtics because they knew that, if they fired a coach that was black after a year, after having a great season, I think they would have taken some flack from Boston, in general, without knowing the whole story. So, and I believe, look, first of all, I think they should have just fired him if that's the case. I think the suspension is stupid. You either keep him or you don't. But it's how it is perceived by the public. And I feel like they did it this way mostly because that he's probably going to resign, if anything. And that would make it easier, I guess, for the Boston Celtics. So that way it doesn't even get any backlash from like a lawsuit even. So until the whole story comes out, we're really just going to speculate on a lot of things. But I'm going by Brad Stevens' demeanor and how he expressed his part of it. And I'll take that. And I'll have to just deal with that. And
look, I think it's obviously a serious allegation that you don't suspend somebody for a year without enough evidence to say, look,
right,
there's enough here to warrant the suspension. I have a few issues with this, and it's not just because, look, Udoka definitely is in the wrong here. He made a mistake. I 100% agree with them making a decision on the coach. But I agree with you. This should have been a firing.
Yeah.
And the reason why it should have been a firing is it doesn't make sense to me why you're going to hold on to him for a year. And then during the press conference, basically say, well, we haven't really decided what's going to happen after June 30th next season.
Yeah.
So you're not saying he has to do anything to basically be allowed back with the team. You're not saying he will be allowed back with the team. Are you just going to keep him suspended for years until you decide that, the heat's not in the kitchen anymore? People aren't really talking about it. Oh, we can slide him back in and it's not a big story.
Right.
To me, this is a selfish move by the Boston Celtics because I feel like what's going to happen is Joe Mazzulla is taking over as interim coach. Could do very well. If they do very well, they make it to the playoffs, have some success. It's a lot easier to fire Udoka at that point and say, okay,
Yeah.
we have to part ways. But if it doesn't go so well, you still have him in your pocket. Most fans would be okay with him coming back because at this point they'll remember what he did and got him within 2 games of winning a championship.
Right. To be honest, I think this is more of he's going to resign. So we'll give him a
But that
year's
option was
suspension.
there already.
Right.
Before this even happened, they basically gave him that option, and I don't think he wanted to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that realistically is going to happen. I just feel like they're going to see how this season plays out. And that's going to ultimately make the decision on if they're going to fire him or not. And to me, that's the same thing we talk about these greedy owners and the things they try to get away with. I feel, look, I like the Boston Celtics organization, but this looks like there's a gross issue within the organization. This couldn't have been just a one-off. But because he was a head coach, because he was a leader in the organization, they had to make a stand. They had to do it quickly, even though it took 2 months, because I guess the allegation started in July.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really bad. Like for being a player is one thing, but this is your head coach. And
He's the leader of men. We talk about that how many times with our head coach, leader of men, and look what you're doing. You have a 10-year-old child. You've been engaged for the last 7 years to Nia Long, great actress. Think about her situation as well. She's going through the women that had to go through this process, the Celtics organization, what they're going through. Nia Long moved to Boston 2 weeks ago with her family. Unaware of this story coming up.
Yeah.
How great does that gotta feel?
Yeah. She's probably going to do an about face, and I don't blame her because, the first thing that a dog will say is like, oh, it only happened once and it'll never happen again. And that is a bunch of crock of what.
Yeah. And again, there's no way this was a one.
No, this is not a one time only.
Several.
And even when somebody gets caught, they still lie through their teeth and they never admit it. And, this is going to be the case with him. He's going to have to defend himself to her and her family. And if she's smart, she will run for the hills.
Yeah. And you have to, at the end of this, there has been several, and I think this is where Brad Stevens was going. There have been several speculated females that he may have been involved with. It's been on Twitter, Facebook. Everybody's posting it. We don't know the facts. These people need to stop because you're actually hurting someone else. Think about that person's significant other, and they see a picture now saying that she was with Udoka, in a sexual manner, and it's not true. She's trying to explain herself now to her family and her loved ones because somebody just decides they need to get ahead of it and put a story out. They need to watch what they're posting. You can't believe everything on Facebook or Twitter. Social media has a tendency to do that. People believe what they say.
Oh yeah.
And it's a shame
because have been doing it for years.
Yeah. So it's a shame. An unfortunate story. Not a way you want to start a season. There was so many high hopes for the Boston Celtics, and we're going to discuss more Celtics news later on in the program. But let's talk some NFL, and we're going to bring up Mr. Trey Lance, who has suffered a season-ending injury. Was this the best thing for the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, I don't know if it was the best thing, but, I don't think it hurt. Well, except for maybe Trey Lance.
Yeah.
But I just think, look, we made a lot out of this. When you have a quarterback that has a 721 win percentage, the guy brings you to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship game. I I don't know how you justify replacing that because, the incumbent guy is got more skill. I'm not changing anything if he's got a 721 win percentage. I'm not changing a thing.
Here's where I think it's not a good situation for the 49ers. If Jimmy G performs to what he's capable of performing to get them to the playoffs, possibly at least another NFC championship game, this organization now is tied to him again.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard for them to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And I think they were hopeful that Trey Lance would have been able to perform enough to give people hope to say, look, we know what we're doing. It's not going to be so bad. You're going to be stuck now with Jimmy G if this team goes, let's just say 12-5.
Well, I believe I had them, 8-9?
With Trey Lance.
With Trey Lance and behind Carolina for the wild card. Carolina would get the wild card at 8-9. With Jimmy in there, that totally changes my perspective on their games, and that changes things because with Jimmy, I think they go to the playoffs. I think they make another run because Jimmy is just smarter than most quarterbacks. And I'm putting most quarterbacks. He is not as skillful as most, but he is smarter than almost all of them.
But if I'm the 49ers organization right now, I'm basically shaking my head because I know what I've put myself in now.
Yeah.
With the inability to get rid of him.
Yep.
You're stuck now hoping that he tanks. I think realistically, that's the only way they get past this is if they don't do well. Because if they do succeed, what do you tell your fans after? Well, he got us to a championship game again, but he couldn't get us to the Super Bowl. Trey Lance is 2-2 in his career. He has a 54.9% completion percentage.
Yeah.
He's thrown 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This season, in the game and a half he played, 48%.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Pass completion. It's not very good at all.
It's terrible.
So how do you go back and tell your fans, look, this guy can get us to a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Jimmy G has gotten you to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he has. And when he got them to the Super Bowl, was Samuel a factor then? No. He's a factor now. I mean, I think, to me, with Jimmy G, I think they might be my favorites to make it to the Super Bowl this year because I'm not impressed with anybody from that conference right now except for Philadelphia, and I don't think they have the experience behind them.
No, very true. Very true. So we are going to break down the New England Patriots versus the Baltimore Ravens. So our local team, every week we cover their game and what our expectations are. So I'll ask you right off the bat, what are some of your expectations for this week's game versus the Baltimore Ravens?
This is going to be a very difficult matchup for the Patriots. Lamar Jackson is just an unbelievable quarterback. And like I said, I would have had him in my top 5 if I knew he was going to be healthy every year. But I don't know that because it seems like he's always hurt because of his style of play. Now, when he's in that pocket, he's fantastic. I think he's a dynamic player because he can not only throw the ball and throw it with accuracy, he can also run the ball, and that really puts a strain on the defenses that are going to be playing against him. And this is what you're seeing with Hurts as well, because that's another player that, is
very mobile,
like a younger version of Jackson. Although I think Jackson has a better arm, a stronger arm. So, the Patriots have to be firing on all cylinders. They cannot get out of their lanes because if you do, they're going to get torched.
Yep. Control the edges. Don't let them run outside the pocket. That's going to be a key. Baltimore's averaging 31 points per game. So the 2 games they've played, New England 12. Offensively, they have to score more points. They have to be able to put the ball in the end zone, New England. So we know about some of their offensive struggles. But again, I think we control the ball by running it, attempt to run it more. Give yourself an opportunity to kill some clock. Don't let Lamar Jackson on the field. That's probably your best attribute to him not being successful, is if you can keep him on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Nobody can beat you from the sideline.
Right. And, you have to dictate the pace of the game. You must. This is a must.
Yeah. Look, New England's had a tendency to have some uncalled for penalties. They have to be smart this game as well. Continue to make sure you don't put yourselves in a 3rd and long situation. But I would also look at some of the injuries for New England right now. Jacoby Myers was limited, Adrian Phillips, Kyle Duggar, Jalen Mills. So that's most of their secondary. Devon Godchuk and Raekwon McMillan have all been. McMillan didn't even practice, so likely he's not even playing. So we talk about that young speed linebackers. You want to be able to keep up with Lamar Jackson, and you're going to be down one of them. Baltimore sneaky too this week. They signed Jason Pierre-Paul. So JPP is with the Ravens for this game. So you talk about a pass rush. We know about New England's struggles a little bit with the offensive line. Last week, no sacks. First week, we know against Miami, they definitely gave up 3. Can they control that defensive line and make sure that, Mac Jones has some time to pass the ball? It's going to be a very interesting game. We will predict it at the end of the show. If they can pull this off, though, it's going to be more about the coaching and what the coaching was able to do. Manny, thank you for joining, by the way. Each week, Ron, we do discuss our games of interest for the week. So you can lead us off. What are some of the games you're looking forward to?
Well, obviously, for the lack of a better word, Green Bay at Tampa Bay. I mean, that's kind of an obvious one.
It should be fun. Look, Tampa Bay completely beat up Green Bay. We still don't know what kind of offense they're going to have.
Well, they have several receivers out as well.
and yeah, Tampa Bay's defense, one of the best in the league. Yeah, and normally Aaron Rodgers doesn't do well against Tampa. So it's a fun storyline because it could go so many different directions. No, I had that one as well. I had Buffalo at Miami.
Oh, yes.
Right? That
goes without saying.
Interesting
Look,
AFC East on the line.
All the experts are saying this is going to be a close game. I'm not buying that. I think the Buffalo defense is way better than the Miami defense. So I'm just saying it's not going to be close.
I had Las Vegas at Tennessee. Both these teams 0-2. You look at the need for a win, especially for Vegas. You're in a very tough division. But Tennessee has not looked good. Derrick Henry has not been able to get going. That teams are really keying on it, and it's going to be interesting to see how long before you see Malik Willis.
Look, I'm calling this now. The loser of this game is out of playoff contention.
It's going to be extremely difficult. I think the odds are if you're 0-2 already, it's like 30%, and that's it. So not very good odds. You go 0-3, which very well should happen unless there's a tie, which we hate in the NFL.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
I've got, of course, the Rams and Arizona. That is a big game. That's a really big game. And the Rams really need this win. They really need this.
And you think about it, Arizona, came back. But again, we're still questioning them. And this, to me, would be a very important game because it takes control of the division early. Granted, it's very early in the season.
Yep. But
you're not playing from behind.
Yeah, and now you have to all of a sudden worry about San Francisco. So you need to get this win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another game I had, Detroit at Minnesota.
That is a good one.
Right? Both 1-1. Detroit's played very well. Minnesota, bad loss last week.
Yep.
Detroit could very well win them I don't even want to say it. But
Yeah, I
the
know
way
you don't
look,
want to say it, but it is possible.
it's possible, and this would be a huge stepping stone towards that.
And then Kenny would have called it a year too early.
Right? He should have been on the NFL preview show because he would have called it. He said, Jared Goff is finally producing.
Yep.
Do you have any other games?
I have one other game, and that is the San Fran at Denver.
Oof, okay.
Denver's not looking so nice right now, and they've had a very easy schedule to this point.
Yeah, agreed.
They should be 2-0. They should be 2-0. Should.
A lot of struggles there. Offensively, they're Russell Wilson's not comfortable. They're not getting the play calls. I heard a stat today. They've had the most delay of game penalties. They're just not getting the plays in quick enough. So
they've looked pretty bad offensively.
Yeah. Hackett's going to have to change some things up. I don't know if it's his terminology or what they're doing, but it's not giving Wilson enough time to get to the line and kind of read and react and make some changes. So
this to me is looking like Hackett is not ready to hack it.
Very
Just
good.
saying.
Very
Just
good.
saying.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Do you have any other games?
Nope.
So great games this week. A lot of excitement. Going to be a fun weekend for the NFL. I think we're going to see a lot of different things that probably more unexpected than anything else. But let's go on to our triple play. And we're going to keep this NFL theme going. Very odd triple play for us because normally we're talking about some top players here, but we're going Tua, Wentz, and Flacco.
These are top players, all of them.
They are currently leading the NFL in passing yards.
I don't know how.
Which is amazing to me. So we're going to decide who we start, who we bench, and who we are going to cut. I am going first this week, and I feel like this is a lose-lose situation no matter which way you look at it. But I am going to start Joe Flacco. Because of his experience, 99-79, 61.7% completion percentage, has thrown for over 41,000 yards in his career, 232 touchdowns, 145 interceptions, has won a Super Bowl. Granted, he wasn't the main reason they won the Super Bowl, but he did win a Super Bowl. So if I had to, I'd go that route. I had more trouble with the bench because both of these players I would prefer to cut. But to play the game, to be fair, I am going to bench Tua. 15-8, 66.8% completion percentage, which is very good, honestly. 5,200 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I just never trusted Carson Wentz, so I cut him. 45, 41, and 1 in his career. He's basically a 500 quarterback. Has a decent percentage, 62.7. But A, his health, B, again, he wins half of his games. I just feel like I'd have a better option with Tua as my backup. So that's how I went. Flacco, Tua, and Wentz.
Okay. So I start Joe Flacco because he has won a Super Bowl. He hasn't really done anything really horrendous in his career for me to warrant anything but the starting job. Look, he got a win for the Jets.
Comeback one, too, at that. Yeah.
He got a win for the Jets this year. And the Jets are bad. Okay? The Jets aren't a good team. But
it goes on New York.
Got a win. And he's not the worst team. He's not the worst in the league. He's not. I am benching Tua because of the progress that I see this year. Other than that, he's a 500 quarterback, basically.
15-8, not a 500.
He's a 500 quarterback in my book.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, he is what he is. I'm still not sold on Tua yet. He's making me a believer that, hey, he might actually have something here. But, of course, all those weapons, it's almost impossible not to.
Obviously, yeah.
When he has pressure on him, that's when we're going to find out because he hasn't really had it yet. Patriots' first game in Miami, 100+ degree weather. I'm just saying, okay, there's no way the Patriots were going to win that game. First game for the Patriots is always bad. And then, you know, you didn't have really that much of a challenge the following week, seeming people
you
are
were up by,
sleepwalking.
yeah. Well, listen, you come back from 21 down. It's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Oh, I
in the
know,
fourth
but
quarter.
like the defense just stopped playing. So
Yeah.
Baltimore, like they just stopped. So they were sleepwalking through that the second half of the game. So now let's see what they got against Buffalo. Buffalo is going to be ready. Buffalo is going to come at them. Von Miller and the gang are going to be at them. Let's see how they handle it then. And then I can make my opinions
Your
on
fair
Tua.
assessment.
And
Your
then
fair
Wentz, who, yeah, he may be a 500 quarterback, but I fear those losses at any moment are happening because he's going to cough it up and cost you a game, and he's just not going to get it done. So
Yeah,
he's out.
I've never been a believer of Carson Wentz, so
Nope. I don't know how he always has a job. Don't know
Yeah.
how.
As much as this was probably one of the hardest ones we've done because realistically, we'd probably cut all three of them if we could.
You probably would. Can I
Probably
go
would.
without a quarterback?
I know. Would that be possible? All right, my friend. Let's talk some NBA action, and we're gonna bring up the Time Lord, and I think the Time Lord's pretty
Bob.
fitting because he misses time more than he actually has playing time. I don't know how that works. But Rob Williams had another surgery on his knee and will miss the start of the season. How do you think this is going to affect the Boston Celtics season? We also
this is
8 to 12 weeks he will be out.
this is big because I mean you're already taking injuries off the bench.
Thank you for joining, Chara.
You know, with the the coaching problem, you know, all the issues that are surrounding the Celtics right now with injuries and the coaching, this is not what you needed to hear. Because to me, this takes away probably their biggest aspect of their game, and that is the big man in the middle.
Defensively, yeah.
This is just bad. This is just
so-
bad. There's nothing good that can come from this.
So he's not expected to be back till the calendar year 2023. So we're looking at least January, February before he comes back. So he's going to miss significant time now.
Yeah.
But then you also look at in the 4 seasons he's been with Boston. First year, 32 games. Second year, 29 games. Third year, 52. Last year, 61. And then missed some playoff time as well. They're only as effective as when he's on the court. It's going to be extremely difficult for this team to go back to the finals if you don't have. He had career highs last season: 10 points per game, 9.6 rebounds, two assists. You think about the blocks, 73.6% field goal percentage. When they got him the ball, he scored.
Eric, he's the advantage that the Celtics have in the conference. He's the advantage because, you know, when you're dealing with most teams, probably Philadelphia is the only one that has a guy that's a big that, you know, you really have to worry about. That's better than Williams, you know, defensively. But now you don't have that. So what's to stop, you know, Philadelphia, Miami, Chicago, Cleveland, Brooklyn, all of those teams, and I think I'm forgetting somebody, and I can't think of it right now, but those teams are clearly ahead of the Celtics right now. With all these injuries and the coaching issue, they're all ahead of the Celtics. So by the time they get him back and get him in game shape, so we're talking really February, if he comes back at the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And if he comes back in February, then it's March. And then by then, you're probably out of it.
And we know with knee injuries, look, they're lingering. It's one of those things. You land wrong again. Somebody runs into your knee. It's concerning.
Yeah.
Wick Grossbeck did come on and say or come out and say that he was willing to spend whatever he needed to spend. Brad has a green light to pick up whoever he wants to pick up. This was even before this surgery. So I wanted to throw a couple names out there for you and see your thoughts as some of these free agent centers that are still available. First off, LaMarcus Aldridge. 37, so you talk about an age factor. Al Horford, again, won't play back-to-back games. He's up there in age as well, so that would give you two aging centers. But 12.9 points per game last season, 5.5 rebounds. May not be a bad option, and he can shoot the ball from the outside, because something kind of Boston likes to do. Hassan Whiteside. When you talk about blocks defensively, 8.2 points per game, 7.6 rebounds. He definitely has the ability to block, which is similar to what you're going to lose by not having Williams. He's only 33. So, I mean,
it's not bad.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad option. This guy surprised me because I didn't realize how young I just felt he was older. DeMarcus Cousins is only 32 years old.
Well, that's interesting.
9.9 points per game last season, 5.6 rebounds. Again, the problem with him is he always motivated? Would he want to be here? I don't know. But again, when he's on, he's still a dominant player in the league.
Yeah.
Last one, Dwight Howard, 36 years old, 6.2 points per game, 5.9 rebounds last season. So of the four, which guy would you think would be a better option for Boston at this point?
Well, I would either go after Cousins or Whiteside.
Yep.
I would probably go after one of those two.
Yeah, the Aldridge thing intrigues me because of the scoring, but then
right,
Al Horford being your probably number one center,
yeah,
he's going to miss time as well, just because they're going to probably give him rest.
So you need somebody in there, and that's why.
Yeah,
Whiteside's numbers actually surprised me, to be honest with you. I was thinking a lot less numbers on him, but I got to give it to him. That's a quiet, good big man.
Yeah, and again, defensively very good.
Yeah,
which is kind of to your point, what they're going to lose if they don't have Williams. We'll have to see if they decide to go out and do something.
Why not go grab them both?
They very well can, and they should.
I mean, when you think about it, like you get that defensive guy in Whiteside, and then you just have the guy that's a beast in Cousins when he wants to play. If he's ready to go, then you throw him in. If he's not, you take him right out. And and you always have the other guy to check on that.
Yeah, and at this point, look, Boston needs role players. If they're gonna get back to the finals and be a championship contender, they're gonna need role players. That's gonna be very important.
Yeah.
Faceless, thanks for joining. One more story out of the NBA was Robert Sarver, who we talked about last week, had received a 1-year suspension, $10 million fine, has decided to sell the Phoenix Suns and Mercury after he, I guess, felt that no matter which way he looked at it, sponsors, players, had already come out and said that they wouldn't play or want to be a part of that organization. Your thoughts on his decision to sell the team?
Oh, thank God he came to that decision. That's all I can say is again, I think what the NBA did wasn't enough, but I think it made its point because once the players and the sponsors start talking, and I'd like to think that we had something to do with that, calling out the NBA and having the sponsors go after him.
Absolutely. Of course we did. So he's on the team since 2004. You think about what he was able to build and get Phoenix to where they are now.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, we know the situations that were occurring. I would be more curious about the fact that now a billionaire is just going to get more money. So we've actually rewarded him for his negative behavior because he's going to basically have billions of dollars put in his pocket.
Yeah, he would have had that anyway, though. So,
But you know what I mean?
but it gets him out of the league. It gets him
yeah, but
out.
I also thought I feel like the NBA they skated past this now.
Oh, I know they did.
They're not. There's no skin in the game for them now because look, okay, well, we gave our ruling and we can't. You could have come down much harsher. You could have made it a lifetime ban. You could have done so many different things, and you didn't. And now he basically did the dirty work for you.
Yeah.
By stepping aside. So I still have issues with the NBA. I still feel like
no doubt. No doubt. But as far as the fans' perspective and the players' perspective, he's
it's a win for them.
leaving. Yeah, it's a win. So, and to all the people that were part of that organization that came forward, it's a win for them.
Yeah,
and hopefully they can be part of, either the same franchise or a new franchise, in the same capacity without getting, some sort of, negative flashback.
Like that, they've got to be very selective on the ownership group that they pick for Phoenix because you've got to rebuild that organization from the inside. And the foundation is going to be on the owner they have, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. Let's go on to a more positive story, and that's the man we're going to bring up on the screen right now. Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge is chasing a triple crown. Is this a good thing for the New York Yankees?
Well, I don't know if it's good for the Yankees because they're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, so financially, there's some concerns. I look at it this way, though, as well. It's kind of taking away from the fact that the team has struggled.
In that picture, is he on the way to the bank?
He's on his way to hop on a plane to meet with 30 other teams to be able to say, how much do you want to pay me? Yeah, that's why he's smiling like that.
Yeah.
You've got to be concerned with the fact that the Yankees have struggled. And very quietly, it hasn't been as big a story in New York because of what Judge is doing.
Yeah,
it's almost like everybody's put blinders on in New York and said, "Oh well, we're gonna have a triple crown with it," and not focusing on the fact that you're probably gonna be done in the first round of the playoffs, based on the way you're playing baseball currently. I think it's phenomenal the season he's having. You think about betting on yourself and winning. This was probably the biggest one I've ever seen. Lamar Jackson's doing it right now in the NFL. He's hoping for an MVP type season because he'll be smiling like that going to the bank as well. Aaron Judge said, "Look, I'm going to play this contract out. I'm going to bat .316 currently, 60 home runs and 128 RBIs." Question would be to you, Ron, can he get the triple crown? The only area that he's going to struggle right now in, .314 batting average, Xander Bogaerts. That could be the one area. That's not a lot.
It's funny how it's a Boston Red Sox player, too.
Right? Which there's not a lot of room there. The next home run leader in the American Leagues, Yordan Alvarez,
that's
37 home runs, and Jose Ramirez is at 117 RBIs.
Yeah, he's not going to catch him either.
So the Xander Bogaerts thing, if a Boston Red Sox player knocks him out of the Triple Crown, it brings back that rivalry, though. It kind of makes it interesting. They're playing a 4-game series right now.
That's all that's left for the Red Sox. Is
exactly.
That rivalry. So
it's going to be fun to see if that's the way it turns out. It's going to be unfortunate because
the Red Sox walked him 3 times last night. Yeah. And he went 0 for 2. So, but unfortunately, Xander didn't actually do much of anything, so he went down in his average.
If I'm New York right now, I'm just walking Xander as well. If you walk Judge, I'm walking Xander. We'll play the game.
Yeah, that could happen, actually. That's pretty funny.
Realistically, that's the way I would play it. But do you believe do you believe he'll get the Triple Crown?
I don't.
13 games left.
I don't think he will.
I think the batting average thing is going to hurt him. Even though he's had
because it's not just Xander. I mean, he's got a couple of other guys that are within striking distance. So, but I'll tell you, What's impressive is that he is leading the league in batting right now. And I would have never thought that Judge could have done that.
No. We knew about the power.
Yeah.
But the sheer fact that his batting average too, 316.
And I got to say, I think it was because of last year where, if you recall him playing the Red Sox, it seemed like he always struck out because the Red Sox just knew how to pitch to him and he would chase it. Well, he's not doing that this year. And that's why he's doing so well. And then the power hasn't suffered at all because he's just a big man. And he's just, every time he connects with the ball, it's hit hard, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's face-off time. We're going to kind of stay on this same theme. And one of us has to be for, and one of us has to be for the other topic. So there's two topics we're going to cover. Aaron Judge breaking the American League home run record or Albert Pujols hitting his 700th home run. Which story will be bigger for the Major League Baseball season if it happens? So I am first this week. I get to pick. I am picking the Aaron Judge 61 home runs. I believe that record, to me, will have a bigger standing with American League or with baseball in general, just based on the fact that most people think that the other guys that are ahead have cheated to get ahead. This would put him in a different class where a lot of people would probably consider him the home run all-time leader. But it's also a record that's extremely hard to beat, where I feel like there's going to be guys that still continue to get to 700 home runs. It's not as easy. There's only been 5 other players that have gotten there, but I could see more players getting to 700 than more guys hitting 60-plus home runs in a season. So I think that story would be a much bigger story for Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge hitting over 61 home runs.
Okay, you win.
All right.
There's no question about it. First of all, I'm one of those people that believe if he gets to 62, he is the all-time leader in my book. Because I don't think the other schmoes got there clean. And to be honest with you, their careers are tainted in my eyes forever. Forever. And whether those 3 guys ever get caught in the scandal that it comes out and it's true, it doesn't even matter in my eyes because I know, looking at those 3 players, what exactly has happened. And they got away with it, and nothing is ever going to change that. And, it's just that whole, it's not the connecting with the ball and hitting it over the fence. It is the fact that there's no such thing as lingering injuries. There's no such thing as being out for a long period of time because of that. That heals all. And that is the toughest thing because I'll tell you, there's no way Barry Bonds is as good as a ball player as Ken Griffey Jr. There's no way. I don't care what anybody says. Griffey Jr. was the guy, in that era that I feel was the best player. And, he just didn't do it the wrong way. He just didn't do that. And from what I see with Judge, he's always been a big guy. Okay. He's just a monster. He's a house, and to be honest with you, how could you not even like him? He's always smiling. He's like, this is why I compare him with Devers. He's way bigger than Devers, but it's like they're always smiling. It's impossible. You know what they have? They have that poppy in them.
Big poppy.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and that's what, honestly, sometimes people are drawn more to it. He's a likable player that people will want to see get to that record.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to discredit Albert Pujols and what he's
absolutely not, because I was going to say that for later.
I feel like that's what we just did. It is a very elite class of athlete. Another guy that we can say we believe did it clean.
Absolutely.
So, to have that long of a career, the only thing I would question is if he doesn't get to it. He already said this is it. And he said, regardless if it's God's will, he'll get to it or not. I couldn't see why not come back for at least a month or two and then just, get that record. I always look at 696 for A-Rod, and we, again, cheated, but just 700. To me, it's like 698 would not look right. When we do a pick and roll and it's like, 698 home, you're like, it was right there for the taking. If he was 15 back or something, I'd be like, I get it. You're two away. You're two away. If you don't get it, come back. Come back, Albert.
I think he'll get it. I think he'll get it.
One one more season if he has to.
It could be one of those things where if he falls one short, say, somebody will pick him up midpoint of the season, and he'll come in and he'll play for a half a season
just to get it. Go to a team like Baltimore or somewhere where they need somebody to, just spark interest in a team, a bad organization, and then all of a sudden, look, you're going to get at least people watching your games and wanting to be a part of it. So that would be my suggestion. If he doesn't
sign as a minimum contract for the worst team in the league,
and just get yourself in there to get the record. Go to Kansas City. Go, you know what I mean? Go to Texas. Who cares?
Ooh, Texas though.
Just to get the record.
If you're gonna go somewhere, you're gonna go to a home run park.
Yeah, make sure it's right. It's home run friendly.
Yeah,
it's NHL time. Your number one topic. We're going to talk about a guy we're bringing up on the screen right now, and I know how excited you were to hear that. Zdeno Chara has decided to sign a one-day contract and retire as a Boston Bruin. Your thoughts on his career and what his next career move might be?
Well, it's kind of funny how he came back to Boston to sign basically a retirement form. Basically,
and remember we talked about it, I think, last week's show. There was all these rumors he was in Boston, possibly could come back. It was probably just to set this up.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, during that show that when we found this out that he was there, I said that he's probably going to be maybe a player coach. And now that it's all said and done, to me, it looks like he's going to be doing some work with the Bruins, to be honest with you, in some capacity, whether it is in the front office, which is a possibility, I mean, when you think about, who runs the show with Neely and Sweeney, why wouldn't you expect Zdeno Chara not to be in there in some capacity? Maybe, some sort of an assistant to whoever, because look, Chara is a smart man. He's been around a long time.
Yes.
He knows how to play the game, and he's got a lot to teach. And the Bruins have 3 or 4 young defensemen that could use his knowledge. And to be honest, there's no harm in McAvoy learning from Chara more. I don't know what he could possibly learn, but, why not? Why not?
So, do you want to explain the graphic to our fans out there that are watching?
The Cujo Zdeno Chara, that says thank you, by the way.
In his native language.
And, yes, it's Czech.
So, I wanted to look at just some of the numbers. You think about a remarkable career. 1,680 games played. 209 goals, 471 assists, 680 points in his career, plus 301.
That's the ridiculous number.
That's pretty impressive. 1,493 blocks, 2,022 hits, 7-time All-Star, 08-09 won the Norris, 10-11.
More than one.
He won the Messier.
Yep.
And then obviously the one cup.
Yep.
Which I know you definitely appreciate.
Oh, I do. I do. Look, I mean, he's one of the best all-time defensemen. I mean, if you're gonna put a number on it, I'd probably say, definitely top 10. It's Orr, Bork, Lidstrom,
Yeah.
and then fight for the rest.
And you think about in his career, he played with the New York Islanders, started his career, Ottawa Senators, the Boston Bruins, obviously for a good amount of time,
Like
the Capitals,
1,200 plus games or something like that.
and then the Capitals, and he went back to the Islanders for his final season. So, look,
Yep.
storied career, definitely a Hall of Famer. Just was hopefully would try one more year. I really was. I was hoping this was going to be a good story for the Bees, and he would play, early in the season with all those injuries. But wish him well. Thank you, Zdeno Chara, the Cujo.
Yep.
So we also wanted to bring up another story that keeps continuing to come out in the NHL, and Patrick Kane. So there's a lot of speculation about him possibly being traded. It's been out there for a couple years now. Is it time for the Chicago Blackhawks to really consider moving on from him?
Oh, they're gonna have to because, why have him? Why waste him? He's got a. The problem is, with all these extensions being thrown around, who is even going to be able to afford Patrick Kane? That is going to be the more difficult problem. So, most likely, somebody's going to have to get traded that's pretty good, that has a high salary back the other way. And nobody's going to make that move unless they feel like they're going to possibly win the cup.
Yeah.
So
you've got him at a prime age. He's 34. Played in 70 games last season, 26 goals, 66 assists, 92 points. So he's still a very capable player in this league. But they were one of the worst teams in the West. They had the third worst record, only behind Seattle and Arizona. And we know what Seattle, again, expansion team. If you're going to maximize what you can get, to me, it makes more sense to do it now. They're in a rebuild mode. We understand that. You've got a top quality player that most teams would give you a good amount of draft picks for. Why this doesn't happen or shouldn't happen this season doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it'll happen this season. But it's going to happen near trade deadline.
Yeah, so he'll be one of those guys on the trade, which we talked about last year with the trade deadline, and we expected him to move on at that point, and they held on to him. If they do it again this year, it just, to me...
No, they can't do it this year because he's a free agent at the end of the year. So, and I'm going to call it now. Look for Carolina to get him. Because I don't think the Rangers can afford him. But I think the Carolina Hurricanes can. And I think because of their early exit, to the Rangers, I think they're going to look to put a stamp on the season. And who better than Patrick Kane does that in the league? When you think about all the players that are going to be available, he's going to be the best player available.
Agreed.
And Carolina is probably that away from dominating the league.
No, agreed. Look, I think it happens. It should happen. If it doesn't happen, it's going to be a horrible move by the Blackhawks.
Absolutely.
It's pick and roll time. And we did something a little different today. We thought we'd have some fun. So we're going to decide, of these teams that made the playoffs last season, which one should be most worried about how the season has begun. And we're going to talk about the 1-1 New England Patriots, the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals, the 0-2 Tennessee Titans, the 0-2 Las Vegas Raiders, and the 1-1 Dallas Cowboys. We're going to rank them from 5 to 1, least being the 5 being the least worried team, where 1 would be the team that should be the most worried about their season currently. I am first this week, so I will start us off. And at number 5, as crazy as it sounds, I went the Tennessee Titans. As bad as they look currently, they're in the AFC South, Jacksonville, Houston, and Indianapolis. All they've got to do is right the ship a little bit. They should have 6 wins in their division. Again, get a couple wins. Get Derrick Henry, who I believe will improve. Right now, as a team, they're only averaging 86 yards a game rushing. They're going to improve the running game. Defensively, Mike Vrabel's usually better than 26th. I think they just started off slow, but I feel better about them being more successful, especially because of their division. At number 4, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Again, the East, the only team I'm really worried about would be Philadelphia. I feel like New York's overachieving. I think they're going to have a good year. But I still feel Dallas is a better team. And then the Commanders. They had the number 1 offense in the league last season. Right now, they're ranked 25th. You cannot tell me that they're not going to figure it out and improve on that number. You also will get Dak Prescott back maybe sooner than later. And they're currently 6th in defense. So when we talk about being able to control the ball on one side of the ball, they can stop teams from scoring. They've just got to hope right now the Cooper Rush gives them enough offensively to put up some points. But I also feel like that New York and Washington, they should beat those 2 teams. Maybe a split with Philadelphia. So at number 3, I have the New England Patriots. And I feel like the Patriots, even though the East seems tougher with Buffalo, Miami, and New York, they are not the most worried because, again, right now, still the 4th-ranked defense in the league. It may be smoke and mirrors. We know when they played good teams last year, they were highly ranked defensively, and then those teams exposed them. You may see that again this week with Baltimore. Then I would start to worry. I'd push the panic button a little more. But if the defense can hold steady and be a top 10 defense, if not top 5, they still have a shot to get to the playoffs. A slim one, but a shot. Defensively, 24th, they need to improve. There's still questions on what direction they're going in. So that would make me a little nervous and make me worry more about their positioning. At number 2, Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of questions going on with Josh McDaniels coaching. He failed in Denver. He waited a long time. He passed up the Indianapolis Colts job, decided to stay as an assistant. He's running the team again. They started off 0-2. You think about all the talent they have, but then all the talent in the AFC West. Kansas City, the Chargers, the Broncos, those teams are going to continuously win games as well. You're putting yourself in a big deficit currently, and I'd be surprised if you can get out of it enough. They're ranked 23rd offensively and defensively. They picked up guys on defense as well, and those guys aren't performing. So it's not just the offense. The defense has not looked as well as it should. I would be very worried if I'm a Raiders fan. But the number 1 team in my eyes is the Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore, Cleveland are very good teams. Cleveland could very easily have been 3-0 if they didn't choke it away against the Jets. Baltimore, we know that they've got a motivated Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh is that iffy team. I don't think they're going to be very good, but you never know. They make a quarterback switch. They could improve. Joe Burrow has been sacked 13 times in 2 games. They built an offensive line in the offseason to protect him, and they're actually worse. So I don't feel like he's going to be there without missing some games. So if that's the case, they're going to be in the worst situation out of all these teams because they're not going to have their A, starting quarterback, B, their offense would definitely slip. They have a very good defense. They're currently ranked 7th. But can they hold on all season, especially if Joe Burrow goes down? So Cincinnati Bengals would be my most worried team currently with their start. That's my pick and roll.
Very good. It was pretty good. Not correct, but it was pretty good.
Okay, let's hear this garbage you're going to throw out.
Okay. All right. So number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Least worried. Okay.
Least worried team. At least the fans should be least worried. Look, they have to play 2 times against the Giants, 2 times against Washington. That's going to be 4 wins right there. And we're going to find that out this weekend when Dallas has to play the Giants.
Yep.
Like you said, you only have to worry about Philadelphia and that. And because the conference is kind of weak, in general. I think Dallas is going to be fine. I think they make the playoffs with no problem, and everything will be fine at the end of the season after they lose their first playoff game.
All's right in the NFL world, yes.
All's right in the NFL world. That's when they'll panic and they'll fire McCarthy. Number 4 is the New England Patriots. Because of that defense,
Okay.
I think that the Patriots will be fine. The Patriots will win 10 games. Patriots will win 10 games. They will miss the playoffs because, doo-doo happens. But it won't be at the hands of Miami.
Okay.
But I think they will still have a pretty good year, even though they don't make the playoffs. They're still going to win those 10 games. Not bad for not having, an offensive coordinator, which with the problems of Las Vegas, it's making me look like maybe he didn't call all the plays in New England.
Actually, yeah, so, New England's offense is actually ranked higher right now than the Vegas rated, which blows my mind.
This is why I don't think I'm going to worry about the Patriots right now. I'm not worried. Number 3, I have Cincinnati. And yes, they started 0-2. They lost the first game because of the kicker couldn't put it into the uprights. As good as he was last season, he has been horrible this season. So that is why they lost both games. The second game, they just played bad. Just downright awful. And the line has been terrible. I think they will get it together. Maybe Joe Burrow taking time off in training camp. Maybe that is a factor. I didn't think it would be, but that could be a factor. And so they're off to a slow start. I think they will be fine. They just need to get back to the basics. They need to use Joe Mixon. They're not using him right now, and that is the problem. That's the problem. So they're trying to do too much, and it's costing them, by throwing the ball all over the place when they have a perfectly good running back right there. So I think they will right the ship. Just give them to this week. They'll right the ship this week. That leaves the 2 teams that I really think probably have already started to panic. Number 2, like you said, Las Vegas. Like I said, I am questioning whether Josh McDaniels was in total control of that offense in New England, because this does not look like it. And I am starting to wonder if he learned anything from Bill Belichick, because this time around is going just as bad as the first time around, if not worse, because actually he won with a lesser quarterback, when he was, So,
hey, this could be a benefit for New England. So let's.
This is not going very well for Las Vegas, and they should be panicked already because they have a great team out there.
This may be
arguably one of the top 3 teams in the league.
This may be as the biggest genius move Bill Belichick's ever done. He said, "You know what? I'm not going to get an offensive coordinator because Josh is going to struggle with Vegas, and they're going to fire him after year 1, and we're going to just bring Josh back." It's all coming together now. I got it. I figured it out. It all makes sense.
Maybe.
This is why we've got Matt Patricia and Joe Judge running our offense right now.
If he doesn't make the playoffs, they're firing him. They're firing him.
The season they had last year. Look, that team played hard for Versace.
Like I said, they should have hired him. And then if he got this team, oh my God, it's like Christmas Day for him.
Yeah.
Number 1, that leaves me with Tennessee Titans. Despite their bad division, I just don't get this team, because no matter who they play, they're going to lose because they're playing so poorly. And it's not even just one aspect of any of the games. When your best player can't even get across the the line of scrimmage. Derrick Henry can't even get,
Yeah,
2 yards in a
he
game.
isn't
That
hungry.
that is not good. Okay, so
Derrick
the
Henry right now
line is doing
yeah.
terrible. The quarterback has been horrible. Henry hasn't done anything.
Malik
The
Willis.
defense has certainly not done anything. I mean, they're barely getting out there onto the field. So until this team actually plays a decent game, they haven't even done that.
Yeah.
And I think they should be panicking. And, and it's too bad because I think Vrabel is a really good coach, but this team just stopped playing. They look like they stopped trying. And
Yeah,
that is not good.
I just feel the division is way too weak. And
I'm-
listen, Jacksonville's playing much better. But
Yeah.
Houston and Indianapolis to me are just their cream puffs.
I know they are.
4 wins.
And
You're gonna
yes, I would
you
say
should beat
that,
Jacksonville.
but if they're not playing well at all, they're not doing anything. Eric, they're not good at
Yeah.
any part of the game yet. Nothing.
No, I got you. So that was our pick and roll. Clearly, I made the better arguments and won that one, but good call.
Probably not.
Good call on your part. Did want to mention, first time ever as new to Facebook, we do have stars now, so you can donate stars to us on our Facebook, Rhode Island Broadcasting. We would love that as our Twitch group that's here today. Again,
Yeah,
Bits as well.
Faceless, Chakra.
Right. So we appreciate any help we can get to continue to grow our show. You guys have always been great and always been there. So we appreciate you joining us each and every week. Manny has made some moves with our predictions. We're going to bring that up in a second here. And it is prediction time. Ron has taken his lead. He's gotten it.
Big week for me.
Big week. Went 7-1. Great week. Manny,
Yes,
I think 5-3. So really good week. And then I tanked off a little bit. So we're going to have to see. But if you'd like to join in on our predictions, just let us know as we're giving the games and who you would like to win.
I told you, man, you should have gone with me all week.
So we are going to start off, and the tick is going, so you'll know which games are going as well. But the New York Yankees at the Toronto Blue Jays, that series starts on 9/26. It's a 3-game series. I am first, so I will go with the New York Yankees, who I feel are playing better baseball. They're still not playing great baseball, but better baseball. They're getting some guys back as well from injuries, so I feel like the New York Yankees will take this series.
I am also going to go with the Yankees. I think the fact that I think LeMahieu might be coming back soon.
DJ LeMahieu, yeah.
He might be back in time for this series, and I think
Manny's going against you.
Oh, that's a bad thing, Manny. We know what happens.
So 9/27 series between the Tampa Bay Rays. They are traveling to the Cleveland Guardians. 3-game series.
Oh boy. I mean, how many times do we go against Tampa Bay and it always costs us, right? I can't go against them. I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
I'm going Cleveland. Playing a little bit better baseball. The games they needed to win. They beat the Twins pretty soundly. They beat the White Sox. I think they're starting to come into their groove. I think your boy there, Terry's doing a good job. Francona. Got them playing well.
Yeah, he does.
Manny's got Tampa. Manny wants to get off this night. He's still under 50%. He's trying here. 9/24, the San Jose Earthquakes are traveling to the LA Galaxy in MLS action. I am going, right?
Yes.
I am going the Galaxy here. I think the Galaxy are just a better team, probably one of the best teams in Major League Soccer right now.
Yeah, even though I really love the San Jose Earthquake name.
Right, really cool name.
But LA Galaxy is just too good, and I am definitely going with the Galaxy.
I know Manny's a big soccer guy, so let's see who he jumps in with. 9:24. We got a big game in the NCAA men's football. He went Galaxy as well. All right, so we're all on the Galaxy side here. You know what that means? Galaxy are losing. 9:24. You got the number 20 ranked Florida Gators at the number 11 Tennessee Volunteers.
Because I'm so good at calling college games,
You're amazing.
I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Tennessee.
They are just a better team, and being at home, being the better team, I don't even think this is going to be close.
Oh, San Jose's in last place, so it's an easy pick. They really only had 2 games this week in MLS action. There's only one game Saturday, 1 game Sunday. So, all right. Thanks for that heads up, Manny. So 9:25.
Wait, who was yours?
Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went Tennessee as well. Tennessee as well. I agree. Very good team this year, Tennessee Volunteers. 9:25. Manny went Tennessee as well.
Wait, how can they be called the Volunteers? Don't they get paid now?
On 9:25, we got some NFL action. We got the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins.
Oh my gosh.
I think this is, to your point, you already kind of let the cat out of the bag. I think the Buffalo Bills just dominate this game. I am going Buffalo.
Yeah, it goes without saying. I don't think it's going to be even close. I don't think it's going to be close.
Josh Allen's on a different level right now than anybody else in the league.
Yeah.
All right, 9:25. You got the Baltimore Ravens at the New England Patriots. Manny, jump in with the Buffalo Miami if you can.
Yeah, well, he has Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, so we know
so
who
that's
he's
the
going
team.
with. I got you. So 9:25, Baltimore Ravens at the New England Patriots. Ron, who do you have?
I am going New England at home.
Such a homer.
I'm not a homer. I picked them to win this game, and I'm not backing out of it.
I don't feel they're going to be able to contain Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to have a big day, and he's actually passing the ball much better. So I'm going Baltimore. I just feel Baltimore has the edge up on them. Sure. I haven't seen enough out of New England's offense to make me think they're going to score 31 points. Nope. Manny, who do you got?
Who do you got, Manny? Go with me, Manny. I'm telling you.
He won't pick New England. He never picks New England.
It's because he's a Dallas Cowboy fan. I want to agree with Ron because he's been solid lately, but Ravens got this one. Okay. All right.
So the Ravens.
Gonna go negative again this week.
All right. So he's going Ravens. 9:25. Got the Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is me, right? I am going in a shocking way with this because even with all the injuries, somehow Tom Brady has continued to figure out how to win. I'm going Tampa Bay. I just think Green Bay with their offensive struggles, I'm going Tampa Bay with that defense to shut down Aaron Rodgers.
How is that going? Like Tampa Bay is still favored in this game.
Tampa Bay has no wide receivers right now. Cole Beasley is going to be one of their receivers.
That's all they need.
He just jumped in. You got Mike Evans, who's going to be watching the game from home because he, had a punching session. And
yeah, well, Tampa Bay is going to win this game.
All right. I don't think it's that easy of a pick, but okay.
I do. Green Bay is terrible.
Manny, who do you got?
Watch him go Green Bay and lose.
Buccaneers.
Oh, he didn't. All right, there we go, Manny. All right, jumping back on the Ron bandwagon.
All right, so last one. I know Manny won't jump in on this one. 9:25. We got the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 500. That's in Texas. We got to pick one of the top 5 drivers.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Who do you got?
I got Kyle Larson.
Didn't you pick him before?
No.
Okay.
This is my first time, but what I will say, he's got 17 top 10 finishes, and he's won 2 races, and he has 10 top 5 finishes so far this year.
Awesome. I'm going Kevin Harvick.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew because he's the only active racer that has pretty much won on this track.
Hey, it's all about the law of averages here.
He's
Kevin
not
Harvick.
good enough anymore. Not good
Kevin
enough.
Harvick.
I knew you were going to pick him.
That is our prediction for this week. We'll see how the results come out. We normally end our show. We do our final thoughts. But before we do our final thoughts, just want to say if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night, 6 p.m. We are live. We're fan interactive. You can join us in so many different ways, social media, on Rhode Island Broadcasting, on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. You can follow us on social media on all these different platforms, including MeWe, which has grown. We have so many different ways to follow us. Donate stars and bits. We would love to get some stars on Facebook. We've just opened that up to the public, so we're excited about that and having an opportunity for our fans to be able to donate there as well. And we also have some specials coming up. We have our NHL special coming up on October 4th and our NBA special, which will be out right before the season starts on the 18th. So look forward to that. Ron, it is final thoughts time. I am first this week. So I just wanted to talk about the U.S. men's national soccer team who lost today to Japan 2-0. They are currently 1-3-2 versus teams that have qualified for the World Cup. And the other day I was at work and one of my coworkers, they were discussing about soccer and they said, why don't you like soccer? And I said, it's just not as popular in the United States. It's not that I don't like soccer. It's not as popular. But there's also not an urgency to see teams like our national team, which should be some of the best players in our country, and they can't perform against others from other countries because they take it a lot more seriously than the United States does. We've got the World Cup coming up in November. I was kind of excited. I said, oh, the U.S. have qualified. They, at least this might be an interesting. You've had one win out of 6 games against teams that are already qualified for the World Cup. That's not very good stats. This is why soccer struggles in the United States, because they just don't build it up. You think about the dominance in U.S. basketball. It's continuous. Baseball, they're always competitive. Soccer it should be better, and it never is. It's disappointing, and I hope the United States figures out how to get more people, A, involved, but B, get people to want to watch, because you basically train players early enough and keep them involved. So I was a little disappointed with that stat. Hopefully they do better in the World Cup, but I don't feel very confident that we'll be talking much men's national soccer team during the course of our time on Sports Unfolded. That's my final thought.
Very well said. Unfortunately, it was all very true. Very true. My final thought goes out to Major League Baseball. Okay, so with the arrival of the NFL season, I have literally watched maybe 20 minutes of baseball. But what I'm giving baseball the heads up on, you are missing a golden opportunity to put faces on the people's minds at home. And that's what Aaron Judge is doing right now. He is chasing history in the American League. You should be putting his face on everything you could possibly imagine. Put him up on billboards. The chase is on, That's what you should be doing. Marketing players. The NBA and the NFL has done such a good job on marketing players. You are failing at. Like, the face of baseball probably was Mike Trout for the last decade. But nobody even knows what he looks like because you haven't marketed him. You're missing an opportunity now with Aaron Judge. You're missing an opportunity now with Albert Pujols. Even though he's retiring, his face should be everywhere, chasing 700. Market. You got to learn how to market your players. You got Devers and Aaron Judge, and you got Rodriguez, in Seattle, the non-steroid one. But no, let's not do that. Let's not market these people, and what they're accomplishing until after it's already done. You wait too long to do everything. So Major League Baseball, smarten up. Tomorrow, I want to see Aaron Judge and Pujols on billboards. Billboards.
Yeah. Now, and again, I think with their success with the streaming services, having some of these games on Amazon where a lot of people can't watch them has hurt them as well. But that was some great comment by Manny as well. Again, in the friendlies, it's like a preseason. So they do win those games, but against the better teams, the better countries, they don't seem to perform as well. So I know he's a big soccer fan and does a lot with soccer. Possibly, we'll throw a rumor out there that Sports Unfolded could be joined by a football show.
It would be nice. Would be nice.
Stay tuned for that. We've got that in the works as well. Ron, I want to thank you for your time tonight. Some great stories, great sports discussion. I was really excited about tonight. Fans out there, thank you for joining. We had Chakra, Faceless joined, Manny, as always, every week. Thank you so much for your support. You guys have been awesome. Ron, we'll do it all again on Friday. Can't wait.
What time is the game on Sunday?
1:00.
Isn't that the same time as the Miami game?
Buffalo game? Yes.
Damn it.
But we will do our Patriots post-game show after 4 p.m., sometime around 4:30. So check that out if you're a Patriots fan and want to just get our insight on the game and our thoughts, plus our 3 stars of the game. Ron, take care. Fans out there, take care. All we want in this world is peace.
Have a good night, everybody.